everybody, to We Geek Podcast. Today is Wednesday, August 3rd. My name is Adam, and I'm joined by my good friend Logan.
Hello.
What up? And we're here to give you some geeky news. So, how's your week been, man?
It's been a week,
Yeah.
Work has been work, and I've watched a lot of stuff though. I've actually been trying to stay on top of like some new-ish things, especially with video games, which is a nice change of pace.
I've been doing the complete opposite.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can't tell you the last time. I think in the last 2 weeks I've sat down and played my PlayStation for a good 30 minutes, and I wouldn't even consider playing it. I messed around in the menus, got No Man's Sky, and talked to friends and left.
Nice.
Yeah, what have you been playing?
Batman.
Oh yeah, that's right. That did come out. How is it?
It's good. And especially for I hate to say especially for a Telltale game because they're all good anyway. But we were always kind of worried about what's the how is that going to play as a Batman title, and
Right.
And it works. It incorporates the detective elements really well. It stays simple on the action. It really works.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be picking it up. That's right. Yeah, it came out Tuesday. I also saw that the expansion of Warcraft came out. So, at some point in the next week or two, I'll be downloading that. Yeah, and then No Man's Sky's next week, which I'm pretty excited about. I know, like, did you see like one guy got a hold of it for like $2,000?
Yeah, he picked it up off eBay. I saw that.
Yeah, apparently he made it to like the center of the universe. Uh,
That's the end game. Like that's the entire goal.
right. Well, see, that was the thing. It was like the people who made the game was like, yeah, it could take you about 60 hours to get there if you just kept pressing forward and did nothing else. But they were like, what's the point of that's not the point of the game. Like it's like it's all about discovering and
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough.
right. So like I totally get, and like even the guy who did it, he was posting videos and he took them down. He was like, no, like this, like what I'm doing is not what you should do when you play the game. Like it's not the point of it. So like I thought that was kind of cool. But yeah, I've been trying to stay. I didn't look at the screenshots or like read any synopsis or anything like that. Just kind of like, I was just kind of curious why he spent $2,000 on it. But one thing he did say that was like he thinks that the people who made it didn't do a good job at lowering expectations. That everyone got hyped, and of course you want them to when you're trying to sell a product. It went from this little indie game that was just briefly mentioned on E3 to this $60 AAA, like it's going to come out and blow people's minds and it will be the last game people play. Like some people really believe that. And the guy who played this was like, it's not like that. It's cool
Ouch.
and you're going from world to world and you can do that, but he was like, it's not this end all be all game, and I never thought that, but
Well,
I
but
always saw it like it's a game where when I sit around and I'm like, I don't feel like playing anything. That seems like the kind of game that I could just jump in, explore around, destroy some stuff, kind of like a Minecraft, if that makes sense. You never played Minecraft, right?
I tried once. That was enough.
Right. It's this like you can have fun building and exploring and doing whatever and wasting time and then logging off and not feeling like, well, I got to stay on here because I got to do a Destiny raid for the next 3 hours, and
Right.
it's not like that. It's just it seems like such a chill game that you can just relax, put on a podcast, and just hang out and then log off or be in a group chat on PlayStation and go explore a planet and then log off. Like that's what it seems like to me, and that seems really cool. You're not like, oh, I got to be competitive in Overwatch or I got to do like it's none of that. Um, so I'm kind of excited. That's next week.
Yeah, I can't
But
believe it's here already.
yeah, exactly.
Especially after how many times it was delayed.
Yep. Oh yeah. So I'm excited for that and the Warcraft expansion. I know that like DOS hacks has hit Overwatch and WoW and a few other things. I'm not sure why, because I guess new WoW game they gotta take it down
Yeah.
to be cool kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see what they added to Overwatch?
Rocket League, right?
Yep, pretty much.
Well, I mean, why not? Like it kind of makes sense. I mean, Rocket League's been adding such weird stuff to it. I mean,
Oh yeah.
why not?
Yeah, exactly. Like that mode looks so legit. I was like, "Oh, wow, that's going to be fun to play." So, I haven't tested it out yet, but I plan to. I saw a movie, saw Star Trek, so talk about that when we get into reviews. What else have I been doing? Watched wrestling. Um, I don't know. Went out to, I don't know, hung out with some friends this weekend. Did some family stuff. But oh, and I've been playing my 3DS as well. Got to catch them all. Yeah.
uh,
Uh. But oh yeah, before we get to movies, real fast, you still playing Pokemon Go?
yeah, but not to the extent that I used to, because it's real. It alternated weather this week. It was like, well, instead of just being really hot, now it's going to be really hot and pour the freaking rain.
Ah, okay.
I was like, I was kind of on the fence of like, well, I'll go out in this for like an hour, even though it's hot. But now I'm looking around and I'm going, nope, I can't really breathe underwater.
Right, right. Yeah, no, Monday it was such a nice day out. I went and uh uh ended up riding my bike, rode to the park, hung out there for a little bit. Just kept riding my bike all around. The park's the best place to do it in too. Then I just rode through neighborhoods and then like no joke, 3 hours went by and I'm like, I've been riding a bike for 3 fucking hours. Didn't even feel like it either. Like it was fun just catching stuff and got
Yeah.
like a Porygon and or am I saying that wrong?
No, you,
Polygon?
no, you got it. It's Porygon. You're right.
Porygon, that's what I thought. Yeah. And just a few other like rare stuff and like just hitting the eggs like crazy. Like I bought some incubators. So like yeah, it kept popping eggs. I was like, this is great. I'm gonna keep doing this. Um, because they give you a bunch of candies every time you hatch them. So
Yeah.
yeah, but it's been a blast. Yeah, so I've been doing that pretty much any chance I get, like on my breaks and lunches, and it's been fun tricking me into exercise. Oh yeah. But yeah, man. I guess let's get into the movies. We got a lot to talk about. You actually go ahead and take the first one here.
Yeah, anytime we get Spider-Man Homecoming news, I enjoy it. Um,
Oh yeah.
they talked about Kevin Feige mentioned something interesting, that there was an idea going around for the Spider-Man films to follow kind of like the way the Harry Potter series went, in terms of like, oh, every film is a year at school or
Mhm.
something like that. And you could structure them that way. I mean, that could definitely work. It's definitely something you can springboard from. I don't think it's a formula you want to follow exactly, but it's definitely not the worst place to start the thought process.
Well, what I get that, but what I mean, how are they going to deal with the aging?
Well, almost in real time, kind of like these are not, you know, they could do it better than they did it with Harry Potter, because those kids grew up fast.
Right. No, that's
Look,
true.
I mean, and I mean that's a fair point, but to that I say Bran Stark.
Brain Stark.
Yeah, that kid got old fast.
Right, but there was. I mean, I guess they could do like
He,
I was gonna say that had in my head it had to do with like magic and blah blah blah.
well, yeah, except
And
nobody
being
else
in a
got.
tree.
Yeah, but I mean, nobody else got any older, and he got old before he got to the tree too.
Oh, okay. I was thinking like he sat in the tree and got older,
I
but
mean, you could have made that argument if he hadn't gotten older before that.
that's true. Yeah, it's just I don't want it looking like some 36-year-old trying to
Right.
put the backpack over his shoulder and like I'm
Yeah, we.
cool kid like yeah. I don't know. Actually the cast looks young enough that they can work with it. I mean that's why they always did it in the other movies. They were like, all right, let's get him out of high school. Like let's jump. We've done this already. Graduate
Right.
and yeah.
And I think that did him a disservice too. I think they're, for everything to skimp on the ambition with, nah.
Right. And I mean that's some of his best stories is when he's in high school.
Well, I mean, the whole point of Spider-Man is to be an analog for puberty.
Right, right.
So I mean, why jump out of high school? Like that's why in Ultimate Spider-Man, the entirety of the Ultimate Spider-Man comic covered a year. That's it. It covered a
Wow.
year in his life.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So that's, I mean, which is a really fascinating idea, but it does kind of put scope in perspective of just like, oh, here's Peter Parker's life, and a supervillain only takes up, maybe a little bit of time. I mean, think about it. How long does a typical supervillain plot last? If you were really gonna try to put it in context, how long are we talking? A month, two, if they're really. I mean, and I mean just from the time of, oh, we started, from when it appears. Not, they may have been planning it for decades, but how long does it actually have an impact? You know.
Right. No, you're right. You're absolutely right.
I don't know. I think it could be done, and I don't think it's too far out there, really.
Right.
Hell, they could do it. They could do it semester by semester if they really felt the need to slow it down at some point.
The thing is they would have to find a way to tie it into the rest of the Marvel universe, because the rest of the Marvel universe's movies all kind of fall into place.
Sure.
And that's the thing. They'd have to. Okay, so if it's 4 years, then if they jump 4 years in the Avengers movie timeline, then the Peter Parker we would see in the next film, we would already know the outcome of everything. Like,
Right.
if he looks just the same, if he has the same girlfriend, if like, that's where they'll have to just kind of be careful. And I'm sure they will. Like, they haven't done anything that screwed up a timeline. And there's so many movies, but at the same time, it doesn't feel like any of them has made like a major plot, hole.
Right. And I
I can
imagine
think of.
I,
Yeah.
I always keep thinking of, like, whenever they show like whenever there's like a conspiracy theorist in a crime drama or something, and they've always got that one room that's just nothing but strings.
Right. I mean,
That's how I picture the writer's room for the MCU. It's
no,
just
it's true.
this massive, pun intended, web of all of these story threads that they have to make sure they follow.
Oh yeah, yeah, no doubt. And they've done this with hinting at the first Thor and like Coulson where he was at and stuff like that. And like even Thor in this one and in the last Avengers or Civil War, why he wasn't there, why Banner wasn't there. They hinted at it, and we'll see what they were doing. So yeah, I agree. I'm interested. Just I'm curious how they're gonna pull that off.
Yeah.
What about this other piece of news?
Yeah, Tyron Woodley, who's a UFC welterweight, he's a former champ. They added him to the cast. They didn't say who or why or anything. Just, hey, we got this guy.
What he's
Okay.
gonna do? Because usually when athletes are in these kind of films, they don't talk much. I'm thinking. You know, I don't know. You think he's gonna be like a villain, like Shocker or something, or do you think he's just gonna be like, you know,
I that's
bodyguard number 2 or something?
right. That's a possibility. I was always thinking more of like Bouncer or something,
Bouncer. Yeah.
like somebody or somebody's head of security
Yeah,
or
that
something.
makes sense.
Not a completely throwaway role, but like almost.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean now we know the Vulture is gonna be
Yeah.
bad guy, which I don't like. I don't. I've
You
always
don't
thought the
like
Vulture was a dumb villain.
You don't like Vulture? Well, and I mean, to be fair, he does get a bad rap because he's, an 85-year-old in a bird suit. But
Yep.
but
Never liked him.
I do think there is a way to do that character, very interestingly, and I think especially having Michael Keaton do it, I think that really.
Is he still? I mean, I remember us talking about that, but I forgot the outcome. So he is doing it.
Yeah, they found the money.
Okay, Michael Keaton. That intrigues me. Vulture, I have zero love for. There's no. It's not like I hate the villain or anything, but I see nothing. There's not been one Vulture story where I was like, this has got me. This is interesting. Never, not once. Just never. Ugh, it's boring as fuck. It's so boring to me. But we'll see. I mean, Michael Keaton's cool. It's just. I don't know. I don't know if that's interesting to people nowadays. Like a guy in a bird suit. It just.
I think you can make it interesting. Hell, who would have thought Ant-Man would have been interesting? Really? I mean,
Right,
you
but
know,
I don't know. I like what they did with Ant-Man because I like that version of Ant-Man.
right. So
It just seems like if I don't know, someone got a hold of Falcon's suit. Now we got the bad guy. Like that's just what it seems like.
that's a fair point. That's a fair
It's
point. But
But then again, to me, the weakest thing about Marvel's movies are their villains. Some of them have been great, like Loki, but besides that, it's very like I didn't like Ultron really. I mean, he was okay. It's just and Civil War didn't really have a villain. It was just Tony Stark, Captain America. Like to me, their weakest things, and the rest are all forgettable, completely forgettable. Um, so I don't know. This is to me Spider-Man has the best villains. Um,
agreed. Yeah.
and I get why they're doing Vulture because they were going to do Vulture a long time ago, never did. They don't want to do anything to rehash what they've recently done or what they did before. To me, I guess someone would argue, well, we can't do Green Goblin again because we've just done that already a million times.
Right. You can't just jump right back into it. And this gets into the age-old debate. It's look, Spider-Man is the Batman of Marvel Comics in terms of villains. He
Oh
has
yeah, for sure.
he absolutely has the more recognizable roster. But the interesting thing always comes from when people say Spider-Man, what's the first villain you think of? And I think we've had this discussion before. Almost
Well,
everybody says Green Goblin.
right. I know you like Doc Ock.
I say Doc Ock. Like
Right.
that to me works on so many other levels, largely because of the intellectual connection. This is someone who's not just he's not a bronze and craziness supervillain.
Yeah. No, I mean I would actually prefer Doc Ock over Green Goblin.
Yeah,
Um, I
and
I don't even know who I'd want in there, honestly. And you're gonna call me, you're gonna say nope, but I love the clone stuff, not the old clone stuff. Like I know people hate that, and that's like what made a lot of people stop reading comics.
which is why they're doing it again now.
But it's been interesting. Like
Well,
I like that Jackal stuff. I really dig that. Like, the thought of having a loved one come back, like that's got to cripple anyone.
right, and
You know.
that's how you do it right. What
Right.
they did what they did
Like
in it. What they did with it.
like that's a villain that you're like, oh wow, this is really gonna bring me to my knees. It's gonna stop a hero in their place and really make their morals like, wait, you're telling me that you can bring this person back to life in
Yeah.
whatever way it is, if I just let you get away with it, that's gonna make any person question, and so like I love that with Spider-Man. But yeah, I don't know. It's I don't know,
Well,
just
but
the Vulture's odd to me.
well, and I think with like clone stuff, like you have to build to that. Like
It's true.
that's definitely a third or fourth movie villain, no
Yeah.
question.
Oh man, and I think what they talked about doing Venom. I'm curious if they're gonna do what's his name? Flash Thompson as Venom.
No, because Flash Thompson was never evil Venom.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Now you can do a Venom film, and it's not around a villain. Like that's how you can do a Spider-Man a side movie.
I
That's how Sony could sell it as like Venom is the hero in this.
I
And
s-
before you say anything, look what they did with Ant-Man.
I
They
know,
completely jumped to the second one. I don't know. I find his character so much more interesting
but
than Eddie Brock.
yeah, but here's the thing. You can do that with Ant-Man because the premise is very simple. Here's a guy who has technology that makes him shrink.
Hmm.
So you have the original, you have Hank Pym in the sort of, yeah, we did this way back in the day and it's my technology, but we're not going to focus on that because we've moved on. You can't do that with Venom because the origin of that character, the Eddie Brock version of Venom, is just way too core to that character to
Yeah.
take it further with the evolution. I would be all for having Flash Thompson Venom in the future. I think that would be a fantastic way to go.
Oh, you know what?
What?
I think you just nailed it. Do a Spider-Man movie, put Venom in it as the villain, and then at the end of the movie, it leaves his body, gets onto Flash Thompson. That's how you set up a Flash Thompson Venom movie.
Sure. I'm totally down with that because you have to and think about, if you skip when you skip the original Ant-Man, you can still kind of retcon in some of the conflicts and whatnot.
Hmm.
But if you were to skip the original Venom, it makes it harder to bring in Carnage.
Right.
And that is something that they have to consider in the future, especially with the Netflix stuff.
Mhm.
You can go down that road eventually if it's done right.
So yeah, I'd want them, like for example, they're gonna do Vulture this one. I dig them to do Venom for the next one, and then have that spin off into the Venom movie, call it Space Knight or something. Just have hints, he. Well, that wouldn't make sense, I guess, because Flash Thompson's high school in this. If they do the 4 years thing, he wouldn't even get into the war until
Right.
after high school. So yeah,
Well,
that yeah, no, okay.
but
They could do that later.
here's something else though. You can tweak that origin too a little bit. I mean,
Okay.
we have, think about it. We have the aliens invading New York or whatever. Thompson's in ROTC, and as something happens in New York, some supervillain
His
incident, and
legs.
he rushes to save somebody, and a pillar falls and crushes his legs or something.
Yeah.
You can tweak that. You can keep that sort of arc of high school jerk finds this structure in the military, and suddenly there is that sense of duty and what I consider accidental heroism. He's just doing what's right and what he needs to be doing and what he thinks he should be doing, and
Oh yeah.
it just happens to be this great thing, and
Oh yeah.
it has these consequences.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I love that. He went from being a high school bully to realizing he fucked up to then, I liked in the comics he went to put his life on the line. Like he did the complete opposite of what he did in high school.
Yeah.
And you just nailed it. Like he could do that. He doesn't have to go to war to do that. He could do that if the war came to, New York. And then he loses his legs, and then, you know, with Venom and everything else, he now gets a chance to be a hero again. Like I love that. Like that's such an interesting, cool story and like character arc you could take with him. I would totally dig that. That would be where I would go because we haven't done the Carnage thing, and that's to me. I know you said Doc Ock, but the Carnage and the Venom, and I know it could be done wrong so many ways,
Yeah.
but if they did it right, that would be such a cool story. And then you could have this, you could do a whole movie where like there's three or four of them with those symbiotes, and they're like the different versions, like they have.
Well, but at their core, the symbiotes are all kind of the same.
Right. Like, but you, as a fan watching it, you could be like, oh, that's Scream. That's and you would know the differences, between, and that's all it has to be if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I don't know. That would be cool. And that'd be an interesting take, and like, I don't know. That would be dope. But yeah, we've talked about Spider-Man. We should probably move on. But yeah, man, I can't agree with you more. I'm super excited for that. Next Avengers film is officially titled Avengers: Infinity War, uh, and it's only going to be one film, right?
Well, that's just it. They're still doing part one and part two. They're just not calling them part one and part two. This one is Avengers: Infinity War, and the second one will have a different title.
I read that it is not going to be attached to the first one.
It is going to be attached to the first one.
Are you sure?
Yes, because they talked about how they the screenwriters whose names I don't have here locked themselves in a room with the Russo brothers to make sure that none of this conflicted across the two movies.
Well,
Like,
then, 4 days ago, Marvel decides not to split Avengers into two films.
well, I think it was the idea of just calling it. It was the marketing confusion of, hey, this is Infinity War Part 1, and then here's all of these other movies that are going to come out in the following year, and then
Well,
you
here,
get Part 2. I
I'll,
think that's stupid.
well, this is from what I'm reading from. It says, Marvel has read a small but important change to its film schedule. It is still planning to release Avengers films in 2018 and 19, but there will no longer be two parts of the same story. The first film will keep the Avengers title, but the second picture is now untitled, dropping its previous Infinity War Part 2 moniker.
Right, but
This-
I mean, we knew that a long time ago they had decided to scrap Part 1 and Part 2. Just that from the title. So they were always going to be retitled, but they're still going to be linked. It's just
Okay.
not going to be like, oh, you saw Part 1, Now, before you watch any of the other films that come out over the course of the next year, you'll have to watch part two. That's the idea that I think they were worried was going to go through people's minds. So they dropped the idea of part one and part two.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's even more confusing for me now, especially when these news places are saying that this story will no longer be two parts of the same story. I mean, the Russo brothers are quoted here saying these are two very different movies, and the name change was in the works since back in May.
Right, but I see. I think they're reading too much into it. Instead of it's not going to be like Avengers and then Age of Ultron, where they are two just completely different stories. I still say these are going to be the same story, but they're going to focus differently. There's going to be the build up in one and the payoff in the other, and that's going to lend itself to a different style of storytelling.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, that's what I always assumed. That's why I'm saying this is a little bit more confusing now.
Yeah, that's I don't and who knows? It may be that they've decided they're just going to make Infinity War into one film and then, do New Avengers in the second film. I don't know. It's possible. I think that they're still sticking with the original plan. It's just
right.
In their effort to make it less confusing, they've wound up making it more confusing.
Right, exactly. Because they're saying that these films are two very different films, and that a shared title would be misleading, and so that's why. That's to me. I get what you're saying. They're probably part one and part two, but since they're going to tell two very different stories, they're like, maybe we shouldn't do that. But in the means of doing that, they made it confusing because I was like, okay, well, what?
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah. But yeah. So there's that. Did you see the Swamp Thing stuff? I was gonna say the Swamp Thing thing.
Yeah. Yeah, the animation test they did for him.
Yeah, how cool did that look?
Yeah, that showed they could do it, man, and he would have looked really awesome.
He did. He looked really big. Like he looked like he had oomph.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's supposed to be what, like 7-ish feet tall?
Right, exactly. Yeah, yeah. But he just, I don't know, he looked massive.
And you can't
not like,
teach that.
Right. I don't know what I was. I don't know. It's just, oh man, I really wanted to see that in a live action film.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm still working on that bit in my head. And this is big grass, and he's 7 feet tall.
That's funny.
Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
Yeah, no, man. Yeah, that would have
yeah,
been cool.
I know that would have been really really cool. But
yeah.
I mean, an animated film's better than nothing, and it does allow them a little more freedom. They're not so constrained with budgets when it comes to visuals and whatnot. But it would have been so cool to see it live action for sure.
Yeah, I still think he needs to be in what's the third CW show? I always want to say League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Legends. Yeah.
Legends of Tomorrow. Yeah, but anyway, we'll get back. We're going to talk about more movie news. Again, you're listening to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM, and we'll see you guys all in a minute. Welcome back to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM, and we got some more movie news for you. David Milch, is that it? Milch. Okay. Yeah. Writing script for film tied into HBO series. So, did you ever see Deadwood?
I did see like the first episode when I got HBO Now. Now's the new one, right?
Yeah.
When I got HBO Now, I was like, oh yeah, I should, because like there are so many on there now that I, pun intended. But that's like there's Deadwood, there's The Wire, there's Boardwalk Empire, there's I mean there's so many good series on there that I'm like, oh, I gotta watch all these.
Yep, The Wire.
Because I had so much free time and nothing to watch before.
Oh man, Wire. Did you ever see Sopranos all the way through?
That was another one. No, I did not.
Yes, man. You need to get HBO for a few months and just go through Sopranos, The Wire, Oz.
God, I forgot about Oz. See what I'm talking about? Like there's.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people forget some of these shows, especially like Oz.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people forgotten about Oz.
I think Oz is what started it all.
I think Oz and the Wire. I think Oz kind
It was
of.
Oz, then The Wire, I believe.
Yeah, and then like the Sopranos was the big one.
Right, right. That was the one that just was like,
Yeah,
whoop, okay, we got something special here.
yeah.
Just like AMC with Walking Dead, they're like, okay, we got something
They're
special
like,
here.
yeah, they're like, we got one. Great. What's next? Well, Breaking Bad, Fear the Walking Dead, Preacher. You know, where else could
Oh
we
yeah,
go?
oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, man, HBO's fantastic. Silicon Valley's grown on me. I think it's a lot funnier now. For some reason. Yeah. So we'll see. And I want to see that whatever the next one is. I forgot what it is. What it's called.
the
Something World.
uh
Or no, what's the one where it looks like? Oh man, the one they previewed
oh
during
Westworld.
Westworld. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
it.
yeah. That got a release. Jumping way ahead a bit. That got a release date.
Oh, when?
October 2nd.
Oh, sweet. Yeah.
So put that in the calendar. Yeah, that looks interesting.
Yep.
I
Oh yeah.
forgot that was a Crichton book. I think it was Crichton, wasn't it?
I have no idea.
I
I
know
just it's I like the weird mix of the West and like high tech
Yeah.
nonsense. Yeah. I think that's really cool. We got some Uncharted news. You go ahead and take it.
Yeah, they've got I don't know if I think it's a new screenwriter. Um, Joe Carnahan, who did he wrote the screenplay for The Gray.
Mm.
He's doing it, so that's interesting. I like that idea.
Yeah, definitely. How many times have they done a script?
Yeah, right. Like,
Yeah.
eh.
Yeah. We got Flatliners news. A new project from Sony isn't a remake but a sequel. Kiefer Sutherland says he's reprising the role from the original 1990 film. So I never saw Flatliners.
I, I don't know if I have in this century. I'm serious. I don't know when the last time I saw it was. I couldn't even tell you what it was about. There was he was a doctor or something, and it was I don't remember. I really don't.
Does he like go to the other side? It looks like in all
I
these
I
things.
I think
He's
what
like
was the
constantly over bodies that are flatlining.
right, like what was the it oh there was a slogan, there was a catchphrase. What was it? There are some lines that should never be crossed, I think, or something. Like I don't remember.
Sounds about right. Some lines shouldn't be crossed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was it.
Here you go. Kevin Bacon, Julie Roberts, and Kiefer Sutherland. Cool. All
God,
right.
that's a cast. I forgot it had all that cast in it. Jeez.
Yep, yep. Kingsglaive trailer for the Final Fantasy 15 film release. Did you see it? I didn't see it.
Oh, you didn't see it?
Mm-mm.
It will make you want to actually see this.
Okay. Didn't we see a trailer like during that whole?
They showed like some artwork and stuff. They were like, "Oh, hey, here's like a scene ish."
Oh, okay.
But like this is a proper trailer.
Word. I watched it on the break.
Yeah.
We got some Rocketeer news. Disney developing sequel / reboot of the 1991 film, with screenplay written by Max Winkler and Matt Spicer, to be titled The Rocketeers, will star teenage African American female.
I love this news. How did you tell me you've seen the Rocketeer?
Oh yeah, of course.
Not, I mean, maybe not recently, but like I think we've.
No, I was a child when I saw that.
Yeah, I
I
saw
saw it
I,
in the theater.
yeah, I saw it not too long after it came out. I think I saw it like just after it came out on VHS, and then I watched it again last year or the year before, and it holds up because it's not. It's kind of set out of it's a very Indiana Jones kind of film.
Oh, very.
Like it's not tied down to anything, so it's like, oh yeah, okay, it does. I think it totally still works, and the fact that they're doing like a long, they're doing a sequel that's set far enough away from the original where it's like it's pretty much a reboot, but it's like it's a sequel however many years from then.
Right. This just sounds like another Star Wars, another Jurassic Park.
Exactly. And they're like, hey, it was funny. They got the idea. It would have been 5 years ago when they did the 20th anniversary. They did a screening in LA. I don't know if they did it. I don't know where they did it, but they were lined up around the block in costume to come see it. And Disney was like, this many people still like this movie? Like I don't think they had any idea the kind of following it had. So they started to kind of plan out something at that point,
Right.
whatever they were going to do with it. So it's it
Yeah.
is kind of
It's.
it's
Oh,
it's,
go ahead.
it's interesting to me that they were like, we want to redo this, but we already have a guy in a suit of armor that flies around.
Yeah, I was going to say this is a superhero movie. Like,
Right.
I would Disney dare mix this up with their Marvel films? Like, could this possibly be like, the Rocketeer Agents of Shield?
I,
Like,
you know, anything's possible. Anything is genuinely possible.
yeah.
And I thought it was interesting. They were like, okay, we want to differentiate this from Iron Man, so let's have a a a a black female lead,
Hmm.
preferably young, somebody younger, to kind of get into it. That's a great idea.
Oh,
What's
totally.
happening with the Invincible Iron Man?
Oh, yeah,
The
yeah,
exact same damn thing.
it's the exact same thing. Yeah.
But I love it. I think it's great. Hey, bring on the diversity. I am genuinely all for it.
Yep.
We've
Yep.
had God, we've had this
Absolutely.
discussion a million times.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. This is kind of the perfect movie to do that in. It's not like, the character's tied down to some, it's not like the Black Panther or something like that where it's just fundamentally part of their character. So
Right.
why not?
Hey, it's somebody else who's interested in science and adventuring and old timey go get 'emness. Sure.
Hell yeah. Yeah, and
Absolutely.
I saw the articles about that over the weekend. And I know we're kind of jumping ahead about the comic stuff or whatever. And I was just like, all these people that get upset don't read the comics.
Right.
Because if they did, they would be like, "Oh, this is really cool. Like, this is such an interesting take that, and like she's like the smartest person in the Marvel universe. I thought that was really cool. She's an Inhuman, and I was just like, that's really cool. What an but people are crazy,
Yeah.
and it's the ones who don't even read it. It's the one that's just they want to put a hashtag on Twitter about something to get upset about.
Right. Instead of why bother to be involved when you can just be upset?
Right, right, exactly. Yeah,
Like just for one thing, get over it, and for
yeah,
another thing, like it only makes things better. If you have a deeper character roster, then you have more to pull from,
yep.
and it varies how you can tell a story and what perspectives you can bring to a story. Diversity only makes stories better.
Absolutely. And I like that it's called Rocketeers. I mean, it's probably more than one,
Yeah.
So I think that's really cool. Definitely. Um, let's see here. We still got so much more news to talk about. We got Mary Poppins Returns news. Meryl Streep joining the film for unannounced role. That's really cool.
Yeah. It's gonna reunite her and the director, and I'm suddenly drawing a blank on Emily Blunt, I think, right? Yeah,
Oh, yep, yep.
because they did a thing together not that long ago. It was Into the Woods, right? That they were all in, I think.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think that was what they were all a part of.
Probably never saw it though. Yeah.
I don't think I ever did either.
Yeah, it didn't look interesting to me.
I think
So.
that was it. It was like, oh, it's fairy tales again. Like
Yeah,
I just,
Emily Blunt, Andrew Kendrick. Yeah.
yeah,
Yep. Yep, yep, yep. Death Note. Now this was cool. Willem Dafoe to voice. How do you pronounce it?
Ryuk.
Ryuk. You just take this. This
Yeah,
is
he's playing the Shinigami. When everybody thinks of Death Note, there's that one face that everybody thinks of,
yes.
and I'm like, and they were like, and he's going to be voiced by Willem Dafoe. I'm like, that's brilliant.
He's gonna be just voiced. I thought he
Yeah.
was actually gonna.
He's just voicing it.
Oh, okay. I imagine they're gonna make him look just like it too, because he kind of does.
That's the thing. They don't have to do a whole lot of work.
No, they don't. Honestly, he could look just like himself, just like in weird
Yeah.
prosthetics or
Well,
whatever.
because I imagine like their plan is for them to be CG,
Yeah.
because they're just out of the weirdness of it.
Well, I haven't seen much of it to know like if he like transforms or gets big or anything like that. I've just seen him in the first episode where he's like, "Oh, okay, so you have this thing now. Good luck." Or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you'll have, like it turns out the guy's a freaking psychopath. He's like, oh, you've killed a lot of people. So yeah, I don't know. I need to watch more of that. I really like that. It surprised me.
It's a good series. It really
Yeah.
is, and it's not tremendously long.
It's you gotta be in the right mood because like I'm watching the first like 20, 30 minutes and I'm like, this is all black and depressing, and I was like, oh, you gotta be in like a like fuck it mood or something. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, that's fair. That's
yeah.
fair.
Yeah, so I don't know. You just gotta be in the mood. So yeah, I definitely want to come back to that.
Yeah.
For sure. Some Jekyll news: Chris Evans in talks to star in Lionsgate's film adaptation of the BBC series.
Did you ever see the original series?
I did not know.
It it was on Netflix. I don't know if it is anymore.
Hmm.
It was strange.
Yeah, you know what? Okay, I'm looking at the poster of it. I remember this coming up, but I never saw it.
Yeah, it was like a 6 episode miniseries, and it got weird. It wasn't just like, oh hey, he's Jekyll and Hyde. Like there was a whole
Mhm.
metaphysical element to it too. And I mean it was interesting, but I think it was trying to reach the top shelf and it wasn't quite tall enough.
Oh, okay. Cool, cool, cool.
But I appreciated the effort. Yeah, and Chris Evans starring in it is really different.
Yeah, no, I mean, I could see why, because he's always so happy-go-lucky in the films, and like, and then suddenly you see him smiling, and he's a crazy person. That
Yeah.
would actually really work.
That would be the interesting part. Would be like,
Yeah,
okay, we've seen, we know plucky Chris Evans. We know
exactly.
the good guy, but can he do crazy really well?
Right. Just a kid from Brooklyn. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
like,
right.
we've
Stapled to the
seen,
wall. Like,
right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, used to put never mind. Put newspapers in your shoes, but I was quoting the wrong person. Yeah.
And now
So anyway,
he's in the newspapers.
right, exactly. Yeah. Well, we got some more craft news. Film coming to Blu-ray and whatnot on September 27th.
Yeah. So
Um,
in like not quite 2 months.
probably. I wish they would have put it. I guess it'd be too soon, but this month, this week would have been perfect because it would have co-aligned with uh, the game coming out. You know, like that would have been something cool to have on while you're grinding through levels. I guess a month. You know, the 27th isn't that bad, but by
Well,
that time, that's when most people are like, okay, I have done all of the stuff
right.
in the expansion,
Well,
and now
and
I'm going to go back to doing everything else in my life.
right. Well, and I think the idea was for it to be 3 steps. You go see the movie in theaters and you get hyped about it, and then the expansion comes out, and by the time you get through that, the movie's out on Blu-ray. Ta-da!
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I think there should have been some crossover there. Like there should have been. It should have been this month. I think honestly, like August 27th would have been perfect
Yeah.
because that's when people would have started getting a little bit like, okay, I'm kind of done with this. But like having, I don't know, when I used to play WoW back in the day, I loved having something on because WoW is the perfect kind of game to have a podcast in your ear or watching a movie or TV show because you're not doing anything that you're just leveling up. Um, and then once you get to in game, it's a little bit more different. But I don't know. That would have been perfect.
Yeah.
But whatnot. You know what I was also thinking? The next when they released more Pokemon and Pokemon Go, I was thinking they really should line it up with the Sun and Moon.
Oh, totally. I have no doubt that there are plans along those lines.
Instead of like doing gold and silver, I honestly think they should drop some of these Sun and Moon because the Sun and Moon ones look really cool. Actually, we might talk about that when we get to games. I don't even know if it's on our thing.
They're there.
Oh, okay, we'll talk about that because it was like that's cool. I like what they're doing. I'm totally in.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. So, well, anyway, we actually have to take a quick break. When we get back, we will at some point finish movies in this podcast. I'm just kidding. And then we'll get into some TV and some video games and whatnot. But we'll see you guys on a minute. Again, you're listening to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. See you in a minute. Welcome back to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. And before we hop into some TV news, did you see that they're redoing Splash?
The Tom Hanks film?
Yeah, and
Okay. Who's gonna play Tom Hanks's part?
Jillian Bell.
Wait, so they're flipping it?
Yep.
So then who's playing Daryl Hannah's part? Hugh Jackman?
Channing Tatum.
Even better.
Yes. Yep.
Even better.
Yeah. So that's a movie I want to see. That sounds hilarious. Jillian Bell's great.
Yeah, yeah.
They
That's
worked
oh
on
boy.
yeah, they both worked on 22 Jump Street, so like it's gonna be funny. Man, I imagine someone was sitting in the room like, what else can we remake with these guys? Okay, let's do this. Yeah, so that's gonna be fun.
I should hope
But
so. Like that's a if you I what are they not gonna remake? Like they're just pulling like that's a weird pull.
nothing's really sacred. The only thing that I really think that is super sacred that they didn't remake, but they got as close to they could do was Star Wars. I don't think we'd ever, and knock on wood here. I don't think we're ever going to see a reboot of that universe, in our lifetime. Just because there's no need to at all. The last film captured a whole new audience that stands the test of time. I don't know what else. I mean, I thought maybe Jurassic Park, but they were able to do it without doing it. They were able to
Right.
restart without. I don't know. Are we going to see like a reboot of Fast and Furious in 10 years?
I don't know. I'm just
I don't know what's not sacred. My big guess is that whenever I know the legal rights are tied up, but the one franchise that I'm shocked hasn't happened, but I guess it's because of legal reasons, is Back to the Future.
is that a legal snafu?
Yeah, doesn't like someone own the rights and he refuses to do it, give it up until he passes away or something? Like I don't know. I'm my mind that's where it went to because I'm pretty sure I read an article about that at
Huh.
some point in time.
I could very well be. I don't know. Some of these intellectual rights deals are just strange.
Yeah, yeah. Back to the Future, the rights, yeah, uh it was tied up with somebody. And I just can't. I don't know. I yeah, that's one franchise. You know that why haven't they done another one? Especially they're doing Ghostbusters like that. That falls right in line with all that stuff.
Well, and here's the thing. I was just getting ready to say, but that's such an '80s thing, and I'm like, yeah, so was Point Break.
Yep.
So it's like, well, that argument went out the window. Um,
Indiana Jones they could continue, just because it was set so far back and that they could just hand it off to another actor to play his not Indiana Jones but his replacement.
right, and that's a thing that I'm okay with. Like continuing a franchise is one thing, but being like, hey, we're just gonna do this again, like I don't.
Yeah, well, I mean, like the Bond, there was a point in time where Batman was like Bond. You know.
Yeah,
Uh,
from the third movie onward, basically.
right, right, right. Um, yeah.
Or no, first movie. Didn't Keaton only did the first one, didn't he?
He did too. He
He
did
did too.
Batman.
That's right. He did Returns. That's right. So
Yeah,
right, first time.
Returns. I liked Forever. I know a lot of people didn't, but I think it was at the right age where I was like, Jim Carrey's hilarious. Tommy Lee Jones is funny in this. Like, I was like, I'm having fun. This looks like a cartoon. And I know, like, adults were like, what is this monstrosity? But I was like, this is great. It had the kiss from, like, it was great. It had the video game, everything. Um, but, yeah, the next one was garbage.
Yeah.
So let's get in some TV news. Now, one thing I didn't really see on this list, but it's been popping up. I thought it was very odd that Marvel, they did the whole San Diego Comic Con, and on their website they were like, "You followed our coverage of San Diego Comic Con 2016. Now you may know what comes to the Marvel Cinematic Universes, the likes of Iron Man and Captain America, and we've got to make room for a new wave of heroes and villains." And guess who was on their list?
Uh. Um. I know this. It was Modoc. No, I have no idea.
It was Legion. Dan Stevenson explores the title character of Legion, coming to FX in 2017, and tracking the saga of possibly the most powerful mutant alive, a very sick man, or both. Professor Charles Xavier, the X-Men Telepack founder, had a son, David Heller or whatnot, who suffers from dissociative identity disorder,
Right.
and each of his personas possessing a different superpower. So everyone lost their minds because they thought, well, wait a second. Is this tied into the Marvel universe? Because Marvel is reporting this as one of their MCU characters.
I think that was just misplacement. It's
Yeah.
just because of it's because it's a co-production. That's all.
Right, exactly. Because I mean, the other people on the list were like Vulture, Black Panther, Ego,
Yeah.
Mantis, Doctor Strange, Ghost Rider, and
I
whatnot. So I thought maybe we'll see.
Yeah. I doubt it. I think that was just bad placement.
Yes, and did you see the Star Trek Discovery news?
I didn't. Did we have news?
Yeah, apparently it's going to take place before the Adventures of Kirk, Spock, and McCoy.
Oh, so it's a pre. Okay.
Yes,
Sure.
because it's NCC 1031, and that's before 1701, and so that's why they were like, okay, it has to take place before, and apparently there's like a hint in there that was this is gonna bug me. I hold on, I had it open. There was a hint in there that it ties into a story from Deep Space Nine and has to do with the number. I guess they said there's a very big hint in the numbering of what we made the ship, and I guess some people believe they figured it out. That okay, I put it here. As further about Starfleet Super Secret Black Ops Operations Section 31, the one depicted in Deep Space Nine, Enterprise, and Into Darkness. So I guess they've always talked about this Black Ops mission Section 31, and so I guess it ties into that. I don't really know what that means, but anyway, I thought that was cool. That some people are like trying to like I don't know, figure this out. And I was like, that's awesome. Like, put some mystery in there, get people talking about the show. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, anything to make it more interesting, especially since it's only going to be on CBS's "You must subscribe to our digital platform to watch it" service.
Right. Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. I wish it was on regular television or Netflix. Just put it on Netflix. If they came out and were like, hey, we're going to do a new Star Trek show and it was on Netflix, I would be through the roof because that's awesome. Netflix is a great platform.
Yeah.
I mean, oh God, remember when Community was announced for Yahoo? Never seen it, and I
Uh-huh.
loved Community.
Well, I mean, here's the thing that really sucks. The U.S. is the only place it's going to be on CBS All Access. Did you see where it's going to be internationally?
Where, like BBC or something?
Netflix.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. It's only going to be in the US that it's on CBS All Access. And it's going to tank because nobody is going to say, hey, I want to subscribe to CBS because it's not like we get that free.
Right.
All you have to own is a TV and an antenna, and you get CBS.
Yeah. Yeah. So stupid.
Yeah,
It's
so
so fucking stupid.
that one just that bothers me. The idea of like, hey, come watch our subscription service. I understand if you're going to do that instead of like on demand stuff.
It doesn't
I
make any sense. On demand exists. I have it right now. I can go watch. I think CBS on demand.
Right, but not everybody has cable. It's a way for people. I like it as an option instead of something mandatory. If you're like, look, I don't want to pay for cable, but I like what's on a particular network, fine. I don't mind that. I don't care. I understand that as an alternative to having a cable package.
Hmm.
But the idea of like, oh, we're only going to start making this programming for this platform, no, it's going to tank, it's going to blow up in CBS's face, and they deserve it because it's a stupid idea.
Right.
It's an absolutely stupid idea.
Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't agree more, man. I I don't know. Don't like it. We'll see. You go ahead
Yeah.
and take the next one, the first one here.
Yeah, this was my favorite news of the week because all the hints and the posters and all the teasing, we finally got an actual trailer for the upcoming Gilmore Girls miniseries on Netflix,
Yes.
and it looks classic, like it looks like nothing's changed, and
Right.
that's exactly what we wanted.
Right.
So I mean, and we did get a release date. It's November 25th, so Christmas comes a month early. Uh, and I'm totally down for it. Like I can't wait.
How many episodes is it?
4,
Oh wow.
and
Okay,
they're
I guess it's
well,
what?
because they're like 90 minutes a pop.
Oh, okay, okay, that
So
makes
they're
sense. This is probably like a testing ground to see like how much interest does this have?
I think it's just like this is just gonna be enough. Like this is a way to wrap everything up in a satisfying way with some closure, but it's not just like, oh, here's a movie. They're like, no, let's stretch a little.
I
So
like that.
they're doing a mini series format for it, and I think that's great.
Yeah,
I think that's
definitely.
great.
Yep. I saw that Game of Thrones HBO confirms that season 8 will be its last.
Yeah. So that's what in 3 years, 2 years,
Yeah.
2 years.
Now they
Yeah.
now there here's the thing. They could always tell other stories in the Game of Thrones universe. This
Oh,
might be like the end of Game of Thrones,
right.
but I could totally see them telling a completely different story in some other
Oh,
place.
they're gonna spin off, no question. I know Weiss and Benioff have always talked about they've wanted to do a spin off, and
Yeah.
especially now that George has done some of the especially like the egg stories and so on.
Right.
Like there is so much more
Oh
out
yeah.
there they can do.
And they won't be tied down to source material.
Exactly. Well, like they have been so far. They've taken a
Right.
lot of liberties.
You know, the thing is, last season was probably one of my favorites,
Yeah.
if not my favorite season, and that was one where they were not absolutely tied down. They know what was good, like major plot points that we're going to do in the book, but holy cow. Well, anyway, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back. We'll talk more about TV news. Again, you're listening to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. See you guys in a minute. Welcome back to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. We got some more TV news to talk about. Jon Stewart, comedian's HBO series, to use simple animation and coming in September or October. So, what do you think this means?
I think it's just like he's doing like some quick little satire pieces. Like it's gonna be short form. It's gonna be a piece per whatever headline he's doing. It's not gonna be he's not doing his old show on HBO. He's doing something different.
Well, when I read this, I thought of South Park because that's kind of what they do. It's simple animation, but
Well,
it's not now, and it's very much the news that week.
well, I think this is going to be more direct. Like this isn't going like South Park is kind of satire through telling stories that happen to relate to some things.
Right,
I
right.
think this is going to be very much more direct.
Right, right. Like this is, but that's what I mean. Like this is going to be like animation about current news, and it's going to be told with humor.
Right.
And yeah, I don't mean like it's going to have like a story and all this other like it's, I could yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Which is cool. He needs to be back more than ever now.
Yeah,
There's
he's missing out, but I'm
yeah.
sure that now he's kicking himself because he decided to take off this year instead of wait one more.
Right, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Exactly. Yeah, especially we have like what two of like I was reading it was like two of the four like worst polled candidates member or uh candidates for president
High,
since World War II.
yeah, highest unfavorables like ever. Like this just
And they're
and
going against each other. That's the crazy thing.
right, and with so much like it's just it's satire fodder all around. Like this is a gold mine for somebody like Stewart, and he's just got to be hating it.
Apparently he's been on Steven's show a lot.
He's done a couple of appearances on Steve's show.
Yeah, makes sense. It totally makes sense. Right? That's
Yeah,
always like, hey, can I sit there? He's like, okay. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
he's what
So
he's raising llamas or something, isn't he?
I have no idea.
I'm serious. Like he's got a farm and he's got like something weird, like llamas or alpacas or something.
Okay.
Like he started a little rescue, and hey, it's awesome, more power to him. But I was like,
Yeah.
really? Okay,
Yeah, that's not
sure,
what I think he would be doing right now.
right?
Right? Yeah. No. Yeah, I imagine he'd be getting like lunch with Louis C.K. or something like that. Not llamas. But yeah. So anyway, we got some Marvel and Netflix news. Netflix head Ted Sarandos says streaming service would like Marvel series to be produced quicker to reduce downtime in between. Mentions that the Punisher may appear in the Defenders,
Yeah,
which
no,
makes sense.
yeah, and it really only does make sense for that.
Yeah.
And I,
Yep.
and I love it. They're like they're not coming. They're so good. They're not coming out quick enough. But they're so good
True.
because they take a while to make. So we have to find some way to do it. I'm like, hey, here's an idea. Shut up and enjoy it. Like,
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Give them more money so that they can shoot two at the same time. Like, have the studios do multiple things.
right? Yeah. There you go. Now you're
Give more
talking.
money. Because, I mean, this is why, honestly, those Marvel shows have to be on top of their Netflix for, like, when they're getting subscribers. Because anyone I know that's talking about Netflix, that's what they're talking about. Like, there's some other good shows on there too. Don't get me wrong. Orange is the New Black, of course. House of Cards. I think those are the two big ones. But outside of that, it's Daredevil. It's Jessica Jones. It's Daredevil season 2. It's Iron Fist coming out. It's Luke Cage. It's all of them. So yeah, I give them more money so that they can make these. So they can do two shows kind of simultaneously, and so that they can come out like a few weeks apart or a month or so apart.
Right.
Yeah, definitely do that. Give us give us a Moon Knight story. Give us a Punisher series. Like, they don't have to come out 6 months apart from each other. But yeah. So anyway, uh, what is this tomorrow
Man,
today?
this blew my hair back when I read this. It was like Stars is working on a new series called Tomorrow Today. And I'm like, okay, what's it about? Well, it's a superhero show. I'm like, okay. It's about this guy who was a criminal that underwent a bunch of experiments. It's kind of a Luke Cagey story
Mm-hmm.
in a sense. And I was like, all right, fine, but it's different. It's more modern day. It's okay. This guy's edgier. I get this. I like this. Uh, and it's going to be from the same production company that's currently making Power on Stars, not to be
Okay.
confused with Powers on PSN. And I'm like, okay, cool. Wait, that's 50 Cent's production company,
Yep.
and he wrote the screenplay that this is based off of.
Oh
Like,
wow.
this was his idea, and I'm like, okay, that's that's interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I admit that my immediate reaction was like, 50 Cent's doing a superhero show, really? And then the more I thought about it, I was like, you know what? Okay, sure. What the hell?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know his writing skills. I, I don't know. So, yeah, I guess it's a superhero themed series about a veteran from the south side of Chicago who, after being falsely imprisoned, becomes the personal experiment of a deranged prison doctor trying to create the perfect man. And an unstoppable killing machine. Set free, but on the run, the veteran must reconcile with the world that's turned against him, and use the newfound abilities for good. So, yeah, it sounds like he sat down. He was like, "Man, superhero stuff's going really good right now. Let's do something crazy."
It
And then he
sounds
wrote
like
that.
it sounds like Luke Cage meets Bloodshot.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
pretty much.
that's exactly what it sounds like. Wait, okay, sure. Why not? What
We
the
made
hell?
the ultimate weapon. He's turned on us. Now he's a good guy.
Yeah. What are the odds?
Yeah, exactly.
I wonder.
Now he's gonna go back home and clean up the streets. Yeah, that's a hey man, more
Use it
power
as
to him.
right. Use it as a social commentary tool. I mean, that's kind of the whole.
Yep.
That was sort of the point of superheroes.
Right.
They were commentary as much as they were anything else.
Oh yeah,
So, well,
absolutely.
why not? What the hell?
Yep. Well, so check that out soon, probably on Stars. MTV Classics, VH1 Classic rebranded as MTV Classic, programming lineup to consist. Jesus, I can't. Oh, man. Of classic music videos, marathon of shows like Real World, the block of late night programming for shows like Daria, Beavis and Butthead, and other classic TV shows. So or MTV shows. So what do you think about this?
Okay, sure, why not?
Yeah, I mean, a little too late, but yes, of course. So that's great. Are they gonna just put old music videos on there?
I think so. I think it's specifically like first 20 years of MTV music videos.
Oh, okay, that's cool. I would
Yeah.
dig that. Hell yeah! If it's like mostly '90s stuff, I'm all over that.
That's kind of what it seems like, 80s, 90s.
Yeah, It's kind of like they saw the Nicktoons stuff and they're like, "Hey, we can do that."
Exactly. Like, what are other people talking? Well, everybody still talks about Daria, and everybody still loves old Beavis and Butthead. So, why don't we just do the same thing they did? Especially since they're owned by the same company. I'm
Yep.
sure that helped.
Yep, exactly. Um, Stranger Things show's soundtrack officially announced to be coming soon.
I can't wait. I want that.
Oh yeah, man, that opening theme. When I heard that, I was like, okay, I'm in
It's
this.
it's. I know it's been said a trillion times, but it's such a John Carpenter theme.
Oh
It's
yeah,
so good.
you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of like an old sci-fi video game soundtrack.
Yeah.
Like if someone, I don't know, gave you some old adventure game and like from the, late 80s, early 90s and was like play this and I don't know, it was just it kind of it sounded like Axiom Verge. You ever play Axiom Verge?
No, no, I don't think I have yet.
I want you at some point in time to go put on YouTube like Axiom Verge like playthrough, just the very opening when it says Axiom Verge and it starts out, it is to the T that music, and you'll hear it when you'll be like, oh wow, that's exactly that's
Nice.
exactly what they did. And I think that was kind of the point too. Like the guy who made Axiom Verge was like that's the whole point of Axiom Verge. It's like some weird sci-fi 80s thing, but it was really cool. That's what it reminded me of.
Well, I mean, that time had a very distinct sound.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, exactly. Oh yeah. Oh man, I did that show is just so, like, and I see so many of my friends who's not into that, or at least don't ever come off like that, and they're like, "This is so cool! Oh my god, this is such." And I'm like, what? Where have you been all this time? Like,
Right.
you never talk about any of this kind of stuff. Um, but yeah, I'm so glad that a lot of my friends are really digging it, and I'm like, yeah, man, it's just it's everything 80s and whatnot.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so Supergirl news. You go ahead and take it.
Yeah, we finally got our first official promo picture of Tyler Hoechlin in the actual Superman outfit. Uh, and I don't like it
Yeah, no, he looks kind of weird in it.
because he's like really like tall and lanky, and the outfit itself is a little. It's a mishmash of like old Superman and like Man of Steel Superman, and that does not work.
Yeah, I don't know. It looked more like the new Man of Steel.
But it's just like there's a little bit of old design in the emblem, but that really like you can't just mix the styles like that. Like it does not work.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, it's got the yellow in the background. Yeah, it should have been I think just blue, not this like Under Armour whatever the hell it looks like underneath.
Yeah.
Um yeah, I don't know. I also think it's just his face doesn't it just looks goofy to me.
Yeah, he doesn't really look like a commanding especially since he's supposed to be established. Like, oh, he's
Yeah.
Superman. Everybody knows Superman. He's Superman. This does not look like Superman. This looks like Superman. Like I'm not impressed.
What's that? And this is gonna sound stupid. What's that Tim Burton stop animated animation film? Um,
Which
uh,
one? He's done a bunch.
I know, the one with the little kid and the dead dog.
Oh, uh, Frankenweenie. Is that the one you're looking for?
Frankenweenie. He reminds me of the kid from Frankenweenie, doesn't he?
oh,
Yeah,
oh.
he reminds me of that kid from Frankenweenie, all grown up. I don't know, just when I look at his eyes and stuff in that
Well,
picture.
maybe like 3/4 of the way grown up.
Right, right, yeah, exactly. It's just I don't know. We've seen stills. I'm sure he's fine. It's gonna be exciting to have Superman in the show. It's gonna be exciting to have Superman mix it up with Jesus, all of these crazy characters the CW have come up with. So, Superman, Supergirl, like I love that pocket of the universe is now getting fully explored. I don't want it to, one thing I'm afraid of is it's going to go a lot towards Superman. I still want it to be more about Supergirl, but like
I think
he,
I think especially now that it's on the CW, it's gonna stay more towards Supergirl. If it was still on CBS, I would be very worried. But
right,
since it's not, I think we're gonna be okay.
yeah, I hope he shows up. I hope he shows up for like the big crossovers as well. Stuff like that. That's really cool, of course. I hope he's like, I don't know. Like I hope he is a part of the main cast. I hope he's in, just like the Arrow has extra people.
Right.
Um
Recurring is the word you're looking for, I think.
right. Even if he was a mainstay, like he can be a main cast member if that makes sense. Like how Green Arrow had Red Arrow and all these other,
Well, but
Felicity. Like I want it to be like that, but I don't want him to be the main.
right, but you're kind of coming at it the other way though. You're starting from the lesser character's perspective and you're trying to build that character up. It would have been like if you were starting a Red Arrow series and then you brought in a Green Arrow.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's like I still want her to take charge and be her own person, but I also think it'd be dope if he showed up all the time and was a part of her team, or I don't know. I guess it's a different thing because he has his own city, she
Yeah.
has hers. Um, I don't want it to be like once or twice. I hope he isn't a lot. But I'm just saying I hope it's not like I hope the focus still stays on her.
Yeah, and that's my thing. I don't think you can do that with Superman as a constant presence. I think just on the name recognition alone,
Right.
like it would immediately overshadow. And I am sure that they'll establish. I mean, even her introduction is still kind of framed around, oh, she's just like her cousin.
Right,
Like
right, right.
there's so I mean, you're trying to get out from under that shadow. You don't bring in, the giant tree.
Hmm.
You have to establish your own your own standing there. And they'll get to it, and I know they will, but I
Yeah.
don't think you can do it if he's always there.
Right. I want because it seems like she does have just humans around her. I want her to have someone with abilities around her as well.
Well, I agree, but I don't think you go straight to the top.
Well, I guess they have Manhunter, so that makes sense.
True, yeah.
So they have that. I don't know why I didn't think about that, but yeah. So like, yeah, I want someone with her to. I don't know. Like, I don't like it when it's the hero and he has to run off to do, and it's just him. Like, I hate that in the Arrow when it's just Green Arrow. I like them as a team. Same thing for the Flash. Like, the Flash needs people, and he finally got them. Um, because whenever he loses his ability, it's like they all know they're fucked. They all cut, they somehow make it out, and Cisco figures something out, and blah blah blah. But it's like when he's hurt, that's it. The whole ship's like panic mode. I don't like that. I like that they can have other people, to help out.
Right.
Yeah, that's all. And now the Flash kind of has that. Like he has his team, but now like there's going to be other speedsters that are going to help him.
Yeah.
I kind of want that with Supergirl. Is all I'm saying. I
Yeah.
want someone to mix it up with her that can on her level. Like I loved her interaction with Flash. That was so awesome. I want another person in there to kind of be like, I don't know. That kind of team up stuff's cool.
And I still love the way they did that. I will forever hold that up as like, this is how you do it. Instead of like, oh, Flash meets the Arrow or somebody else crosses over and we should fight, right? Because that's what we do or whatever.
Right.
Flash winds up in an alternate dimension and here's Supergirl and these two have no idea who they are or what they do. Hang on, let's get ice cream. Like,
Right.
I love that.
Yeah, I thought it was cool.
That was just amazing.
For
Um,
sure.
it's something. One of my favorite highlights from Comic Con, when Tom Felton, who was Draco Malfoy in all the Harry Potter movies,
Hmm.
they brought him out to talk about him joining the Flash season 3,
Yeah.
and he said the greatest thing ever. He said, well, I'm really glad I'm associated with a franchise whose symbol is a lightning bolt.
Right. Right.
And like
Right.
that to me, I was just like, oh, Tom, you're magnificent. That was fantastic.
That's great. Oh yeah. Cool, man. Yeah. So I think that does it for TV news. We got some video game news. Um. Do you want to go ahead and take with the PS Plus games?
Yeah, we've got to. I don't know because I don't recognize any of these except one of the PS3 games.
Right.
Well, that's not entirely true. PS4's lineup of free games this month is Tricky Towers and Rebel Galaxy.
Hmm.
I have no idea what either of these two games are.
Yeah.
And also, well, we'll get to that. PS3 has Retrograde, which I don't remember, and Yakuza 5, which I was like, oh hey, I know that one.
Right.
The Vita has Patapon 3, which I'm
Mhm.
like, oh, I recognize that, but I've never played a Patapon game in my life. Uh,
Yeah.
and the crossover for all of them is Ultratron, which sounds like the single laziest named anything I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Like that's just a bad name. It's like it's Ultratron. I'm like, now if that's the point, then excellent, they nailed it. But if they were trying to be serious, they failed.
Yep. Pretty much. You see what Xbox was getting?
I did not see what Xbox was getting. I didn't see that.
Warriors 3, um,
What?
Urushi Ultimate for Xbox One, WWE 2016, WWE 2K 2016, um, Xbox 360 Spelunky, and Beyond Good and Evil HD. So,
Well, Spelunky was from last month, I think, wasn't it? It's the one. It's one of the ones that like carries halfway over or something, I think.
Spelunky's August 1st through the 15th.
Well, then they did it. I know they did Spelunky not that long ago. I know they did.
It's the Xbox 360 one. But yeah, the Warriors 3 that is August 1st through the 31st.
I don't.
Uh, WWE 2K16 is August 16th through September 15th.
Okay. I
Um,
don't. What is Warriors 3? I don't remember that one.
I don't know. Looks like a samurai game or something like that. Warriors 3, Orochi Ultimate.
Wait a minute. Is this a Dynasty Warriors 3?
Doesn't say Dynasty Warriors 3.
Really? Huh.
Yeah. No, I would have said Dynasty Warriors
Yeah.
3, but yeah. I mean, it might be part of that franchise because the Warriors. No, it's just Warriors 3.
Huh. Because I don't think I've ever heard of it.
Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, so yeah, so that's that. I was like, okay, WWE 2K16. What is PlayStation doing? Why couldn't they get that or something close to it this month?
Right.
Tricky Towers, like I normally don't complain about PlayStation Plus games, but that is garbage. Like you could put something in there. Like it's crazy how one month we get something like Rocket League, and the next we get this. I don't know. It's
Yeah. It not a good month. Just not a
yeah.
good month. And I mean, sometimes I mean, we got games like Tomb Raider and some of these others, and Xbox would get them like a year later.
Right.
And I remember I laughed when Xbox first started their games with gold because their first games with gold was like Assassin's Creed 2.
Right.
But this was, like 4 years after it had come out.
Right, exactly. It's like they're doing WWE 2K16. I know the new one's coming out, but like that's when you do that.
That's exactly when you do that.
Yeah, and it's WWE 2K16 is $60 on the store, I think right now. 60 or 40.
And it's only like 30 pre-owned even.
No, it's cheaper than that. It's like $20.
Oh, is it now?
Yeah, I went to go get it and I was like, "Nah, I can't do this.
Yeah.
I can't." I was like, "Nah, the new one's coming out. I'll hold off." It's what, October?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll hold off a few months away. Plus, I want all the new in it. Like the WWE roster compared to when that came out and now is so vastly different.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the new people, all the NXT people that came up, like those are the people that I'm excited about that I want to play as and stuff like that. And yeah, I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, so that is PS Plus and Xbox free games. Inside Xbox timed exclusive coming to PS4 later this month, so everyone can enjoy it that didn't play it on Xbox. It's a really good game.
Cool.
Highly recommend it. Galaxy in Turmoil, fan-made Battlefront 3 inspired game shut down by Lucasfilm/EA. It really should say EA because Lucasfilm didn't care.
Lucasfilm came to the front of this.
From what I read, it was EA that forced Lucas to stop this.
Really?
Yep, because of their deal. They've let it go for this long. Lucas has not touched it for years. They did not care. And even recently, when like everyone knew about this, I've been reading up on this. Lucasfilm did not care, and EA was like, "No, we've got a deal here, pretty much. That needs to stop." So then, of course, that's when they were like, "Yep, we got to shut this down." So they're going to continue doing it without Star Wars elements. Makes sense. That's cool. But guess what? if people are wanting something like this because you couldn't do it right, that what does that say?
Yeah, exactly. That your next game better be this.
It better be, yeah. I mean, as much as I loved Battlefront, it was missing so much that it could have had, so much potential. It looked beautiful, but it lacked a lot of the modes, like almost all of them.
Yeah.
It's not as bad as what Street Fighter did, but at the same time, it has a lot of parallels.
Well, but like Street Fighter was free.
Street Fighter wasn't a free game.
Or no, the story mode was free. Yeah, which should have been included. No, Street Fighter was. Why do I think Street Fighter was free?
No. You're thinking of like Killer Instinct, where you get like 2 free characters.
No, no, that's not what I'm thinking. I mean, I know
Street
I'm
Fighter's- yeah, it's a $60 game.
right.
But
No, I know I'm wrong. I just don't know why.
okay, so what you're thinking of is when Street Fighter was announced, they said the DLC. There's not going to be like an Ultimate Street Fighter 5, a Ultimate Super Edition Street Fighter 5. They said that you could unlock characters in the game with in-game currency, but the story mode would be free, and you can unlock the characters by fighting with them.
Yeah. No,
But
I
to the point where like you have to be a crazy person to do as
right.
much as they wanted you to do to
Right.
unlock them.
No, yeah, I remember all that. I don't remember why I thought that was free. That wasn't what I was thinking. I don't.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
No, if
no.
Street Fighter was free, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, right. No, like I know you're right, and I knew I was wrong when I said it. I just don't remember why I thought that.
I don't know. Maybe you're having a stroke or something. I'm just kidding.
I don't know, man. Like I don't. There was
No, I'm
something.
just kidding.
Had to be something.
Yeah, but no, I mean it's so.
I don't know. Maybe I was thinking of like Drive Club or The Crew or something like that.
Yeah, here's why don't they just make Street Fighter 4 one of the free games? I would have taken that over any of these games that we got this month.
That'd be fine.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So we got Outlast 2 news, game delayed to early 2017 in order to not rush it.
I'm okay with that. They were like, hey, it was that thing of like, hey, this game's gonna be awesome, but we need a little more time to make sure it's awesome. Okay, take your time.
Oh yeah. And the Pokemon Sun and News, new trailer reveals new versions of Gen 1 Pokemon, Z moves, and the Island Challenge. Did you see this?
I did.
Oh, I love what they're doing with Pokemon Sun and Moon.
I loved when they were like, and look at Exeggutor. I'm like, why would you put that one first? It's like if a giraffe had an Exeggutor head.
Yeah.
I was like, that thing just looks.
I love it. It's
I'm like,
so
that
cool.
thing looks freaky. I get it. It's supposed to be like a walking palm tree because everything's Hawaiian.
Yeah.
Which is why Vulpix and Ninetales and Sandshrew and Sandslash are now ice Pokemon.
And I think that's one part. I mean, here's my theory, and I know it's probably not going to happen, but I love that they flipped it on its head. They made the fire, ice. Wouldn't it be sick if they were like, oh, and by the way, there's going to be Squirtle in this, and he's fire? Like, just imagine flipping the Gen 1, some of them. Or like I'm surprised like Growlithe wasn't one of them. But like, you know what I mean? Like flipping them to something else. That's a cool thing.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of like what else you could get away with that, like electric Diglets. Like,
Yeah, I don't know. Like I don't know. Like you're at. I don't know. I really don't. My first, I was like a Squirtle with like fire coming out of its shell. Like, how cool would that be? Or I don't know. I was just thinking of the starters, I guess. But yeah, like any of those, or like a fighting Snorlax, like a fighting type. I don't
that
know.
would just be like shut it down. The game's over. Like that's
Right,
it,
right.
man. If you've
But
got like, oh man.
But I just love that like they're like, okay, well, in this island in this part of it, these Pokemon have changed and adapted, and this is what their a form of them looks like. And I was like, oh, they're just giving us like 2 or 3. I hope that they switch a few other ones.
Well, and that's the thing that was interesting because one of the Pokemon that they showed, whose name escapes me, has a different form on each island.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forget what it was. There was a few of them.
Yeah,
I think.
and I love that. I was like, oh, they like it's a different form of evolution. It's adaptive. I love that. I'm like, and that because that blows the door wide open. There's so much you could do with that.
Oh yeah, and I'm going to send you a video after this. It's the craziest video I've ever seen. I looked at it and I thought, this is insane, but I'm going to finish it all the way through. It's like 45 minutes long. You don't have to watch it all like that. watch as much as you want of it. But this guy goes into, I guess he's like big with Pokemon on YouTube. He goes into this crazy theory about Sun and Moon being a revamp of the series, or a way for, I'm sorry, it to conclude. All these things about how like the islands are red, blue, yellow, and green, and all this other stuff, and sun and moon, day and night, you know, ending, beginning, aloha, meaning both, and all of this stuff that like he goes into details with. And it sounds like a crazy person, but at the same time, I'm like, I think he's kind of onto something. Like, what if this is the end of the Pokemon series, and the next for like NX would be a reboot, a red and blue, bring it back to the original. And I thought that would be cool. Like, what? Because that's actually, we gotta take a quick break, don't we?
Yeah.
We'll get back. We'll talk more about this, and we'll get into video game news. Again, you're listening to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. See you guys all in a minute. Welcome back to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. Before we took a break, we were talking about Pokemon and kind of where the series was going, where it's heading to. Possible, you know, and a theory that like this could be the one that where it ends on, and I won't go into it. He goes into a lot of these theories, but a lot of them make sense. Like, this could be the end of the story. And he was also talking about in the anime, all of it's kind of pointing to the end of Ash's story as well. That's the question I wanted to bring to you. Do you think they would ever reboot Pokemon and make like coming out on NX as a reboot of the original? What I would think is if they don't do that, I think it'd be really cool if they did an updated version of Red and Blue. Now, I know they did Fireleaf Red and Greenleaf, but that's so old at this point. We don't have like a really, and those are my two favorite of the Pokemon games.
Yeah.
Would you think that's out of the question for them to first reboot the series or put out something like that?
I don't think it's out of the question at all.
Yeah, I think that'd be really cool. Like, completely start over. You can have a lot of the main, because my thought process was everyone's talking about Pokemon right now. They're talking about the original Pokemon.
Yeah.
It's so in everyone's head right now. And it would be such a wasted opportunity that in the very least they should remake them for the NX, just like they've done for the 3DS, the Ruby and whatnot. I think it would be really cool if they remade it, or if they just rebooted it and they were just like, here's some original takes on it. And yeah, you can catch a Pikachu from this part of the region, and he's different on that side of the region. Or, mix it up a little bit, make the world massive, because you could do it on NX. If it's supposed to have the same capacity as a Wii U, you could do a giant RPG. You could have red, blue, gold, and silver all in one.
Totally.
You know what I mean? Well, anyway, I don't know if we should talk more about it.
Well, I mean, you're basically, you could do like a remake of, you could even start with like Heart Gold and Soul Silver, in the sense of like those games had both regions.
Yes.
Like you started in Johto, and then you came back around through Kanto at the end.
Yeah.
But you could do, like, you could start at the beginning and carry through both regions. I mean, I don't see why not.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can have the original in there, and you can add some of the best. You have 700 to pick and choose, like, the best of the best. It would be a cool starting off point. It would be a cool way to reboot the series, make it fresh, but at the same time have that same nostalgia where people are like, I'm running across a Hitmonlee or Hitmonchan or, a Ditto, or all of these fun things, because those are some of my favorite parts of the newer games, like I'm playing through right now, is running into the classic ones where I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Glad I have this guy now.
Yeah.
And filling out that Pokédex. So I hope that's what they do. They would be so dumb if they didn't take advantage of that, because that, or they need to put the originals out on iOS. I don't know how that would work with the Nintendo, but this would be now where you strike while the iron's hot.
Right. Well, I mean, Nintendo, with their new mobile division.
Yeah. Yes, this is where you go, screw it, because technically it could. I don't know the whole dealings with them, but this isn't a Nintendo owned thing. They own like 1/3 of it, so
right.
They would be dumb if they didn't just go, okay, now you can get it on iOS for $4.99 or whatever, or even $10 people would pay for it. But
and $10 is totally reasonable.
Yeah, people would totally do it to go, okay, I can play red and blue and whatever. But That, or we talked about earlier how they put in the Sun and Moon Pokemon into Go. That would be genius. Then everyone's talking about the same one, the people who have the 3DS game and the people who are doing this. It'd be really well to mix those ecosystems. Yeah.
I just don't know if we get that kind of update to Pokemon Go that soon.
Yeah, well, no. I mean, like, we get the game in November.
Yeah.
So December, that's when everyone's talking about them putting in the next 100. Uh, even a few, just as, like, just randomly. Imagine the internet blew up over the weekend about Articuno showing up.
Well, supposedly.
Did you see the video?
I did, and I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced that it wasn't hacked.
I agree. It is one of the most believable, because the guy, I don't know, he just sounded like well, hold on, what do you want me to do? You want me to play the music? Like, he did I don't know. Until we hear something official, that's
right.
when, and maybe that's the point they were trying to get across, was like, hey, we got a lot of bad press. Let's just throw one of these out there. Let's get them stirred up. Let's get them talking.
And that absolutely could have been. And and if that was true, if they were like, look, we know that the internet is going nuts every time there's a rumor. What if we actually just dropped one of these to somebody?
Yeah. And it was because she sent in a letter about a Pidgeot that transferred accidentally or something.
Yeah, like that. Like, had they actually done that, like, that would be brilliant. I don't think that's what happened at all, but if that was, that's just magnificent.
It's smart because it doesn't affect anyone else. It shouldn't affect your enjoyment of it. I'm sure we'll have an opportunity to get them in the future. I'm sure this isn't like you only get an Articuno if you send them an email about something. Like, no, I'm sure there's plans in the future, but this was a genius part because they were getting a lot of heat for the changes they made, and like. And we haven't really talked about that, really. I don't even see in the notes about them canceling, or all the other third-party apps, the Pokevision and stuff like that, where like you could see where they're at. They've all shut down, every single one of them, overnight.
Right, because the head of Niantic came out and said, "Look, you guys are using our code. Piss off."
Right. It broke whatever. So yeah. So I don't know. It's interesting. But I don't know. Yeah, man, I got that fever, so I've been playing. That's pretty much what I've been playing because I haven't been playing PlayStation. I'm totally back in that game, having fun, goofing off. But
nice.
Yeah. All right, well, let's get into some more news here. We got Ubisoft company does not know when to quit, announces Just Sing to release on September 6th.
Yeah. They were like, we need another something quick. Just Dance Revolution. No, we can't do that. Just stop putting out games like this. No, we have to do something. Just sing. I don't care. Perfect. Give that man a raise. Like, why? Enough. Just Dance doesn't really make that much money. I don't care what anybody tries to say or sell you on. These games do not have that kind of mass appeal.
Right.
I don't know how it's still a thing, and they're expanding the franchise. What the hell, Ubisoft? Were they so excited they finally made a game that wasn't totally broken right out of the gate that they're like gonna go crazy? Like, I don't.
Now, Just Sing, that's a franchise that already exists, though, right?
Just Dance.
No, what's the singing one? SingStar? Is that it?
I don't know if that's theirs though.
But isn't that okay? I'm just trying to think.
It is a thing, but I don't know if they own that.
Yeah, I saw listeners and you too. Go check out Jeff Gersman singing Avril Lavigne's "Complicated." One of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Okay.
And he knows the song to a T. And I think it's SingStar that he did it on. Which I guess this is what's gonna pretty much be like it. Those games are they're fun, and like you have friends over.
Right. I mean, like, I have no problem with it. But they're party games, and that's fine. That's perfectly acceptable. But they don't sell because not really a whole bunch of people actually do this.
That's true.
Like, there are not massive Just Dance parties around the country. There just aren't.
No, you're right. But I don't know. A karaoke game would be kind of cool, having people over and plug it up and be like, all right, there you go. Sing Complicated. I don't know. It'd be fun. But yeah, you're right. No Man's Sky. Copies of the game leak. We already talked about this, though.
Yeah.
I guess they reappeared on Pornhub?
Yeah, because I don't think he took them down off YouTube. I think they got chased off of YouTube.
From what I read, he took them down because he didn't want to spoil it for people.
Then I guess other people were like, we like these videos, so we're going to put them back
Right,
up.
right. That's funny. Deus Ex: Mankind Divided next installment in franchise officially goes gold.
Yeah, so it's going to be a thing. Hooray. I don't know. It looks cool. Like, I'm actually kind of excited for it.
Did you see that Nellie's Country Grammar went diamond?
What?
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
What?
Yeah.
That just, why would you tell me that? That hurts.
Well, that's a great album. I don't know what you're talking about.
No.
You didn't like Country Grammar?
No, I don't like Nelly.
But Country Grammar, like, I get you don't like Nelly, but Country Grammar was a great album.
No.
Oh, that was, yes, 2000? Come on, that's what everyone was listening to. That entire album from front to back. I remember being, what was I, in middle school at the time? Or it was like a freshman in high school. I forget. But that was the perfect time of, like, yeah, get my buddy's car. That's the album we had on. That was a good album.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about. You didn't like Nelly at all when he was Country Grammar?
No, I didn't like Nelly at all ever, and I was glad when he disappeared like 3 years later, and yet he keeps popping up.
You're crazy. You're absolutely crazy. That was the jam. Oh yeah. So anyway,
and now I have to do a song with Tim McGraw. No, go away. Stop. All right, I'll come back 10 years later and do a song with Florida Georgia Line. Get out of here, man. Go.
To be fair though, do you like rap or hip hop?
Some, like, not.
Okay.
Like, very selectively. Like, in general, no.
Okay,
but,
so that's why I get. Yeah. I don't know, man. This is what all the girls were listening to. This was the jam. This is, oh man, yeah, couldn't get enough of it. Oh yeah, but yeah, if you don't like hip hop or rap or any of that stuff, I guess, yeah, I guess that's not why you would like it. At all.
Probably not.
Yeah, I mean, tell me what was country around that time. Probably wasn't into it.
More than likely. God, I couldn't even tell you, man. Like, early 2000s with music for me is just, like, whatever.
Oh, really?
And I know that sentence sounded like that, but really, yeah. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, we got Metal Gear Solid 5 Definitive Edition temporarily listed on Amazon. Okay. Marvel Ultimate Alliance is going to re-release. The re-release of the games apparently are train wrecks.
Yeah, did you see all the issues they have?
Oh man, I heard it was really bad for PC. I heard it wasn't as bad for the PlayStation 4 or Xbox.
Well, the PC one is more performance related, but the original Marvel Ultimate Alliance has no achievements and no DLC.
Oh, that's what? No DLC?
Because because way back then, when the agreement with Marvel and Activision ran out, they took the DLC off the store. So when they re-released it, there was no way for the game to reconnect with that old DLC to download it.
What?
Yeah, it was just a whole big... Like, they're working on it now. Like, Marvel and Activision are working together to say, oh, crap, we have to fix this.
Yeah.
But, yeah, like, it was... And these two games together are $60. That's crap.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
You know what? We shouldn't be surprised. This is Activision.
I know. I just, for some bizarre reason, I expected better.
Yeah, it's $40 on PC, but still, that's $20 for a pop for a game. How old is that now?
God, it's $40 on PC. It's $60 on consoles.
It's $60 on console. It's just like Overwatch. PC's always going to be cheaper.
Yeah.
That's insanity. Who would pay? Okay, I should take a step back.
Apparently,
if you really like those games, great. You spend $60, but holy shit!
And if you really like those games, you're getting shortchanged.
Yeah, you really are, man. Honestly, that bundle should have been 20, 30 tops.
I would
30. I would have done 30.
I would have been all right with 30. I can understand 40. That's fine. $20 a piece. Okay.
Right.
But not 60. That's madness.
No, especially without the DLC or achievements. Ridiculous. So anyway, we got some Ape Escape 2. Leaked trophy list reveals released a PS2 classic on the PS4. I never played these games, have you?
They were fun. Yeah. Ape Escape on the original PlayStation was the big here's the DualShock controller game. That was the first one to be like, oh, you have to use the sticks because you swung the net with the right stick.
Gotcha. I
Yeah.
remember seeing this. I never played it.
Yeah. It was. I mean, it's fun. They're simple enough little platformers.
Yeah.
They're kind of puzzle platformers. They were fun. They're not. They weren't like, oh my god, these are amazing. They were just like, oh, these are fun. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, I really got into it. Is it the no, 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 no.
Is it the
No.
what?
No, no, it's the one where they're rolling around the balls, right?
No.
What is that where the monkeys are rolling around the balls?
I I don't know.
God, I had it for my phone too.
I
Um,
I couldn't tell you. No, these guys are just out and about freely.
is it Monkey Ball? What is it?
Probably. Yeah, yeah.
Is that a thing?
I think so, yeah.
Monkey Ball? I don't know. I'm trying to think of yeah, it was Super Monkey Ball. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounded right.
Okay. Yeah. Did you see the Overwatch all the Brazil stuff they added?
No, they added Brazil
Stuff?
stuff?
Well, I mean for the Olympic Games.
Oh, yeah, that are going to be awful. Right.
Well, no, I thought they looked pretty cool. Like they had a USA team that like team for all over.
Oh, well, for the. Oh, yeah, the content. I meant the actual Olympics.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Like
It's a disaster. It's a nightmare down there.
them carrying the torch is like crazy through their streets.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. But yeah, the content did look cool.
Yeah, corruption. That's where it gets us.
I mean, it was bad enough after the World Cup, and they were like, oh, so let's bring the Olympics here. It's like, oh
Yeah.
man, wow, okay.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
That's why nobody's going.
Yeah, nope, absolutely not. Like, did you see like an Australian player got kidnapped?
Madness is madness. Which
And
is
it was the mayor or someone was like, "Would you feel more comfortable if we put a kangaroo in your?" Like he said some fucked up stuff
yeah.
about their team.
Which is sad because Brazil is just a ridiculously beautiful country and culture, and
Right.
it's all the worst parts, and that sucks.
Yeah, and when the mayor, whoever it was saying some bullshit. It was some article or I saw like on Gawk or whatever, and it was like, did he really say that? Holy shit! Like, oh my god, that's so. You're not gonna make anyone feeling comfortable coming to your country if you're making fun of them for being afraid of it.
Right.
Like there's a problem there if these people are getting kidnapped. Oh man. But anyway, I guess he made his way back to the hotel, but it was like, yeah, they just took him in a van or whatever.
It was, and that's funny because Robin Williams called that in his stand-up special when they were like, they got it instead of Chicago, and they were like, what are they gonna do? Are they gonna make waxing and kidnapping Olympic sports? Like,
Yes.
apparently they are. What do you know?
Exactly. Are we close to a break?
We are on a break.
Okay, all right. Well, we're going to take a quick break. Again, you're listening to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. See y'all in a minute. Welcome back to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM, and we're going to do some reviews now. You want to talk about WWE?
That's gonna be our long form, I think.
Okay.
So let me jump around a little bit.
Okay.
Have you heard of a movie called They're Watching?
No.
It's on Netflix. It's a shaky cam thing. It follows this camera crew of, what is it, like Home Renovators Global or something. It's like one of those kind of shows.
Okay.
And so they're like, oh, this woman brought a little cottage in this village of Moldova that has like a population of 200 people.
Okay.
And everybody believes in witches. And they're like, okay, that's fine. And this camera crew goes, and insanity ensues. And it's actually kind of creepy. It was surprisingly enjoyable. It was under comedies, and I don't know why. Because it's not real big on the funny, like in terms of like, oh, they make some jokes, but it's not really a horror comedy in a sense.
Right.
I mean, I see where some people could think that, especially how it kind of wraps up in a sense, but it's not what was the vampire movie?
The things you do. No.
The what we do in dark or whatever it was.
What we do it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not that. Like, it's
What we do in the shadows.
that's it.
So close.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not that. Like, this
Yeah.
is definitely like a horror movie with some jokes instead of like a comedy movie around horror stuff.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
So it was like Slither.
yeah, in a sense.
Okay. Gotcha.
But it's on Netflix. Check it out. It's what, like little over an hour and a half.
Okay, sweet. I'll do that.
Yeah, not bad. The when it gets into having to use visual effects, they look awful.
Okay.
There is that,
Okay,
but
so it's like Slither. No, I'm just
yeah.
kidding. That was actually pretty good. I'm just kidding. But yeah, go ahead.
but I talked a little about the Batman Telltale game,
Hmm.
and that was good. I can't wait for more of it. I can't wait to finish the first
When
episode.
we don't know when the next episode is, right?
Right. Not so
Okay,
far
gotcha.
as we know, I think.
Yeah.
Did you watch The Killing Joke?
No, I didn't. I need to.
Okay. Well, we can put that off. Um,
Yeah.
uh, I did read Harry Potter and the Cursed Child because, of course, I did.
How was it?
I loved it. It was great. Especially considering it's a play. It's not a book. People need to remember that.
Does it read like a play?
Yeah, because it's the script.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not like, oh, it's a book. It's not a novelization of the play. It's the script.
That's gonna throw some people off.
Yeah, but as soon as you start reading and you're like, oh, why does it have the character's name, a colon, and some dialogue? Because it's a script.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
it
Yeah.
it reads like you're reading a script.
Okay.
Um, so that was good. I liked it,
Cool.
and I think that covers everything except this week in wrestling, and it was an interesting week.
Well, let me talk about Star Trek real
Oh
fast.
yes, you saw Star Trek.
Yeah, I really liked it. It was better than the second one of the JJ verse ones. I thought the original still is super special, just because what they did, the new cast and everything else.
Yeah,
This was just, it was kind of everything they promised, where they're like, we're gonna do a new adventure with new characters, and it's just gonna be them out in the unknown, and that's what it felt like. It was all brand new. Uh, the trailer did not do it justice. The whole, and you know what was surprising to me? The beginning of the film was very quiet. It wasn't as, the last few have been like action, 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 action. This was like way more character development, way more like where they're at right now, and it gets to all of that action stuff. But I don't know why I looked around. I was like, this is really cool. Like this felt more. The beginning of that film felt like the Star Trek TV shows where they were just sitting and having conversations.
nice.
Yeah, with Bones and Kirk and Spock, and um, some of their friendships and some of their relationships are in different places than you expect. And it was really cool. I really liked it. And then it gets into, of course, it gets into the big action sequences, and I was like, okay, here's exactly what they promised. Where they're like, we hear you, we're not going to rehash another old bad guy. And I like where they set up what's going to happen next, and it's really cool. And did you? We already talked, I think, about who's gonna be in the fourth one, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, Hemsworth. So that's gonna be really interesting. And there's some surprises, and it's fun. And go see it. That's
Cool.
it.
Very cool.
Yeah, you'll enjoy it. So let's talk about wrestling.
Yeah. Interesting week.
Yeah.
Um, we had we had sort of the cementing of Dolph Ziggler being a main event talent again.
Yes.
Uh, we saw Roman Reigns keep tumbling down the hill that is getting busted for frowned upon substances.
You know what? I like what they're doing with him.
I do too, because it gives him somebody new to lose to.
Yeah, but at the same time, I like that he's not in the conversation with the main title. I like that they're putting up against someone like Rusev, who is a beast.
Yeah.
He can't be beat by pretty much anyone. I love this because the crowd was actually responding good to him when he was up against Rusev, and that's the best way you kind of play to that crowd.
Well, hang on. Let's go back and check this out. Most of Roman Reigns' crowd reactions are very heavily edited in the truck. So they're
Right.
going to be picky about what they boost and what they cut. And they do the same thing with John Cena. You notice how if you watch the crowd when Cena comes out, they're all still singing along with the song, but you don't hear them?
Right. No, I get what you're saying. I
Yeah.
totally get that. But I mean, then we're just gonna take that for any time he walks out that it's all bullshit.
Right. There's still
I'm just saying from what I observed
yeah.
and what I felt. I liked that. I liked what they were doing. I liked that he's going up against him. I like that he's not in the main conversation. And this gives him a title that people are not going to lose their shit over because he's going after that one.
Right, and then when he loses, it's actually going to be good for
Right.
not just for Rusev, but it's going to give Roman a little more. I swear to God, come on, make him heel already.
I don't think that he's going to lose though. That I think they're going to give it to him. Maybe he
No,
becomes heel, but I
no,
like what they're doing. It takes it out of it takes those people away that are going to boo every time he looks at that championship belt.
no, it doesn't, because people are going to boo every time that anytime he
I don't
comes
know.
out to take up time that could be given to somebody that people will actually respond to, because they're not booing Roman because they hate his character. They're booing Roman because he's boring and nobody cares.
I see. I always thought they were booing him because he made it to the top too fast and he didn't deserve it. And so that's why I was saying that
No, it's
where
it's
he's at is
it's
kind
not a
of perfect.
yeah. I mean, it wasn't just that. That was kind of part of it, but the biggest thing was that nobody likes him. Like they boo him because they just don't care.
So what is he supposed to do?
Something interesting.
But
That's
that's what I'm saying this is.
but it's not. It's still him coming out being Roman Reigns. Being Roman Reigns is the problem. Roman
Yeah.
Reigns is not interesting. Roman Reigns is not somebody that one way or another. I mean, they tried to do the whole good guy thing, and it never worked because nobody cared.
Right.
So make him. It's the same thing that happened to The Rock. He did the whole happy, shuffling, smiling, showboating character, and they hated him for it. And
Right, right.
and
So then he tried to do I'm the guy. So yeah, I totally
yeah.
agree they should go heel, but I liked what they did with this. That's all I'm saying.
I like him being in the program he's in because we can't get away from him. He's going to be involved somehow. So put him in something mildly consequential at best. But I think he loses. And if they're smart, if WWE finally decides to keep up some of the things that they're doing, which are actually really interesting, then you make him heel because he's going to get booed. It's like with Eva Marie. She's going to get booed because nobody likes her. Her matches are awful. She had the best match of her career on SmackDown this week.
Right.
Which, if anybody hasn't seen it, she came out to the ring and she pretended she had a knee injury, and they called the match off and they carried her out of the arena. Best match she's ever had.
They're setting her up to be this. Yeah, I get
Yeah,
it.
and
That was cool.
That's the thing. They know she's going to be booed all the time, so she's just going to play into it. She's going to be the absolute, like, I am the most fantastic, most amazing, most beautiful female competitor. All should bow before me. Oh, cramp. Nope,
Right.
can't
She
wrestle.
did
Gotta
Hollywood Hogan. Yeah, I mean, I get it.
Yeah, like
You know
that.
what I really liked though about Raw?
What?
It didn't open up with Stephanie McMahon. It didn't open up with Authority. It didn't open up with any of that nonsense.
It started with the boss.
And I kept thinking, what the fuck's going on?
Right, and I'm sorry, seeing Enzo spar with Jericho on the mic was gold. That
It
was,
was.
I loved it. I loved those two working together like that. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it was great. It was such a din. I'm in a group chat with some people, and they were like, "What is going on? Why is?" And I'm like, "You're so used to seeing the same thing every
Right.
opening."
Right.
I love that they did the last week on like Dragon Ball Z. I was like, "This is cool." I'm so glad they're doing that. Because if you miss a week or whatever, it's like, okay, I can catch up on the story.
Yeah.
I thought the Seth Rollins thing was great with Balor.
Yeah, that's gonna be a hell of a match at SummerSlam.
Yeah, I
That's gonna
love
be
like they're
amazing.
even starting to do the invasion type stuff.
A little bit.
Uh,
A little bit.
and I thought that was cool. Like he's getting now into, I was like, how are they going to get these two to piss each other off before SummerSlam? It's perfect. They're invading each other's show to do their main move.
Yeah.
And I guess I definitely haven't been watching as long as you have, but I haven't seen him get that kind of pop. When he gets out of the audience and they're all cheering him and he takes his shirt off and RKO out of nowhere.
Oh yeah. Well, because Orton's kind of suffering the same thing of like, hey Randy, you've done the same gimmick for 10 years.
Yeah, but people loved it. Like he was in the crowd and everyone was going nuts that he was there. I haven't seen people go crazy over Randy Orton like that in a long time.
Right.
That I've seen him.
Well,
You've seen a lot more.
And that's because he's been gone for 9 months too. He's been injured.
Right.
So everybody, when they first come back, gets that big pop, but it's going to be what happens after SummerSlam.
Yeah, I just like that he went out through the crowd, and I just loved that whole gimmick of it.
Yeah.
That was really cool. I haven't seen him that. He looks so natural, getting hype with the crowd, where he didn't look like this stiff guy with his chin up and you don't. But when he was in the crowd, like he was going crazy with all the people around him.
Yeah,
I don't know. I liked it.
he wasn't like I'm the cold hard brr, like I'm going to just beat you up and that's going to be that kind of thing. Like it wasn't Randy the robot.
Exactly. Well, like all things, we have to come to an end right now. So we will see you guys next week. Again, you're listening to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. Check out our Facebook, We Geek Podcast, Twitters at We Geek Podcast, at Adam Esep, at The Logan Witt, Gmail. I'm sorry, WeGeekPodcast at gmail.com. And we will see you guys all next week. Captain?
Captain.